Brewdog, ale to the king.
Life is too short to be drinking shitty beer.
Welcome to another edition of Bands, Bikes and Booze Reviews. Yep, it's a Brewdog beer. Why am I reviewing a Brewdog beer? Well, it's been a while since I've had a rant, isn't it? And yeah, I thought, why not? But there was a story that prompted me to not seek this beer out. But I read it the other day and it confirmed, well, it didn't confirm, I already fucking knew it. Brewdog are a bunch of fucking tossers, but I saw this in Skunk Central round the corner and I thought, do you know what, I'll give it a go. But it was prompted by a story I read the other day. Now, there was a lady who was a brewer, and she brewed a range of beers called Shore Leave, and she was very proud of it, and she was just about to market it, and then, would you believe, Brewdog stole that name and brought out their own beer with the name Shore Leave. Now, they're fuckers for going after people who supposedly infringe on their intellectual copyrights. And they've done exactly that with that woman. Now, if I was that woman, I would have fucking marketed that to the hilt. And I would have loved Brewdog to come after me because she patented that name or copyrighted that name before Brewdog did. And she obviously hasn't got the money to take them on. And them fuckers have got bottomless pits of money. Well, they value their company at 230 million. Which is fucking astounding because it certainly isn't worth that amount of money, in my opinion anyway. I could be wrong, but they were saying that that's what they're worth. And yeah, all the usual stuff with Brewdog. I don't like their ethics. I know that they had a culture of bullying and sexual harassment in their workplace, and yeah, the two owners, they're not punks, they're anything but punks. They're exact fucking opposite of punks. Speaking of punks, I went to see Discharge in the Exploited not last night, what am I talking about? Last week in Islington, and they were fucking brilliant. It's the best gig I have been to in ages. I would have left happy if it was just Discharge, but then Exploited came on and just took it to another level. They are the fucking nuts. I don't care what anyone says, they're one of my favourite punk bands. They're barking at someone, I don't know who, probably someone who's had the audacity to walk past their house. But yeah, Exploited and Discharge, fantastic, what a lineup. And there was a band called The Insane as well, who I'd heard of from the 80s, punk band from the 80s, and they were quite good as well, surprisingly good. So yeah, good night all round with good people. Anyway, back to Brewdog. Yeah, they're not punks, they're just fucking tossers, especially that head of it, I can't remember what his name is now. But yeah, he was moaning the other day about the train strikes, saying it's costing them 3.5 million. Now, he did get in touch with the government and said it's killing businesses, which is fair enough, it's a good point, but I know that the only reason he's worried about it is because of his profits. He's not worried about the actual people who are working for the train companies and on strike. And before anyone jumps on the bandwagon and says, oh yeah, but their drivers are on, you know, £60,000 a year, it's the other staff who are going to suffer, the station staff. And I've got a mate who's an RMT rep, and yeah, he's on strike and he's telling me all about it, what they're trying to do to the railway workers, and it isn't pleasant. In fact, I've got two mates, one works for Network Rail and the other one works for TfL, and yeah, both West Ham supporters, and they were both telling me about the shenanigans that are going on in the government. What a bunch of tossers. Anyway, I don't want to turn this into a political rant. This is going to be a rant about Brewdog. So, the coronation. Now, that's what this was brewed for. I don't care what your views on the royalty or the royal family are. My own person. That'd be Percy. Come on in, knob job. And he's waiting to go out, but I can't go out at the moment because it's peeing down with rain in July. Typical English summer. What was I talking about? Yeah, the royal family. To be honest, I really don't have an opinion on them. And that's the gospel truth. I think the whole shenanigans with Meghan and Harry, I thought that was a bit embarrassing. Yeah, it was upsetting when the Queen died and all that, and yeah, they put on a good a good pageant when the funeral took place. All the guards regiments and all that. It was very, very impressive, and it's something that this country does well. The old pomp and ceremony. They've done it for the Jubilee and they've done it for her funeral as well, which I thought was great. And but the royal family, I really have no opinion. I don't like them. I don't dislike them. I'm totally neutral. Now, you may have a different opinion. To be honest, that's fine. There's a new king now. And have you seen his fingers? Fuck me. What is going on with them fucking fingers? Every time I look at them, they look like a pack of Richmond sausages. I don't know what the fuck's going on there, but he's got something going on with the fingers. But this was brewed by Brewdog to celebrate that. But I'm looking at this, look. United we stand for better beer, fiercely defiant and independent. Fuck off. That kind of shit winds me up from Brewdog. Oh, do you remember I done that video about the equity for punks? The fucking abuse I got from people, and it was the typical, and I see it a lot with musicians when they buy something expensive, and they have to justify it to everyone, and everybody's pointing out the flaws, and they won't have it. It's not buyer's remorse. It's just called. Well, they're basically in denial, and the amount of people that said to me, and bear in mind, I did this video nearly 3 years ago, and they're saying to me, any moment now, Brewdog are going to go public, and we'll be rolling in the money. Well, they haven't gone public, and you're not rolling in the fucking money, and you've wasted your money on a fucking worthless set of shares. Now, if you've done that, that's fine. I don't care how you spend your money. It's your money. I'm not going to tell you how to do it. But look at the video and tell me if there is anything in that is wrong or has not come to fruition. At the moment, they haven't sold out. And maybe that's a good thing, but they've got a big equity company behind them, so why would they? And fiercely independent. Well, you're not fiercely independent. You've got a big fucking American equity company that owns 22% of your stakes, so you're not fiercely independent. There you go. Anyway, Ale to the King. It was brewed for the coronation, and it's typical of what Brewdog do. They brew stuff, and well, put it this way: if you ever look on the Beer Advocate website, or any of the beer review websites where they list all their beers, Brewdog must have over 1,000 beers, different beers. And I just think to myself, how can you be consistent in that when you're brewing that amount of beers? 1,000 may be a bit of an exaggeration, but certainly over 300 or 400 beers. But I just think, how can you be consistent? And it doesn't pain me because I don't really give a shit about Brewdog. But I see breweries that are going bust who don't deserve to go bust. In fact, I saw, not today, when was it? The other day, actually, I saw that the Anchor Brewery, the American brewery, they've gone bust. And I really liked their beer. They were one of the good guys. I did like what Anchor did. And sadly, no more, which is a real shame. And I'm just looking at this. They had a Christmas sale. Hang on, I'll get it. They did this really nice Christmas sale. When was this? This was 2020, and I've still got the bottle. I remember that being really nice, and I reviewed that on the channel. And it was a dark beer, almost like a stout, and it was really nice. And they did a different one every year, and I used to get them every year. I don't think I've got any more bottles. I may have somewhere, but not sure where they are. But they were good all year round. And the steam beer that they did, it was lovely. It was like an amber lager, but it was really nice. And you see fucking tossers like this, and I'll get onto the brew sheet for this in the next section, because it's one thing that Brewdog do get right is they put their brew sheet on there. But yeah, when I see things like that, and I see Brewdog, they've just opened up a new bar in Amsterdam Station. Apparently, I see them going from strength to strength. I just think there's no justice, but that's just my personal opinion. I will say, in all full disclosure with this, if this beer is nice, I will tell you. I won't shirk away from it, and I won't eat me words. Pale ale, well, I will eat me words actually, so yeah, what are you talking about? This is a pale ale. How original, Brewdog. You haven't done any pale ales before, have you? Or IPAs? Fucking hell. Anyway, before I go into a proper rant, let's get on to the next section. Right, the ingredients on this. Well, I'll tell you a little bit about it. It's 330ml. This was £1.85. Bit of a rip-off, but 330ml. It is, I should say, 4.7%. The hops that have gone into this: Citra, Chinook, Mosaic. All American style hops, all like fruity, that kind of thing. Grapefruit, pine, resin. You know the drill with that lot. The malt bill on this is quite interesting because they've used quite a few malts in this, which I do see this from time to time, and I do wonder why craft brewers do this. But they've put caramel in here, which gives it a nice colour. It gives it, sometimes it gives it a nice caramel malt style flavour, but it does give it an amber or golden amber type colour. It's got oats in here for the body. It's got Munich malts, which is self-explanatory, very nice malts indeed. It's got pale ale malts, which I imagine is the base malt on this. And it's got Vienna malts in this as well. And Percy wants to get out. For fuck's sake, Percy, make your mind up, mate. Come on, in or out? He'll come charging through the door in a minute. Yeah, so all that malt bill is, I don't know what they've done it for, to get some body into it. I really don't know, because the hops in this, I would imagine, because they're quite strong, they've got such strong flavours, they would totally obliterate that. And there's Percy trying to get in. He's such an idiot, that dog. And he's crying because he can't get in. Oh well.
Oh dear, how sad, never mind.
So there it is. There is the cane. Hail to the king. On their website, they made a load of puns about the coronation, which they weren't even funny. I'm not even going to fucking go into that. Dog save the queen. King, I should say. Fucking, what's wrong with you? You know, you're having a beer yet. Anyway, let's get this home. Let's see what's going on. Right. Percy's back in the room. Yeah, come on, Percy. Come up here, mate. Here he is. Fat as ever, get out of it. I know where that tongue's been, mate. I'm going to pour this a little bit into the glass. Yeah, get your eyes off it, mate. I can see the eyes popping out your head. You ain't having none of that. What's your... just burped right into my beer. You are disgusting. You know that? You are the most disgusting dog. Right, what are we getting on the nose? Oh, yeah. This is just typical of what Brewdog do. I have to say, you know, if you're into your American style pale ales, you probably might like this. Quite a lot of orange on that. I'm getting that, and peach and mango. That's the orange, peach and mango. That's really what I'm getting, which you would kind of expect. Now, I'm wondering whether there's other additives in there as well. I always do wonder whether brewers put stuff in there. I mean, they give it all the big one with the American hops, but I wonder if there are, you know, fruit juice or fruit puree in there. I'd be really surprised if you can get these type of aromas just from hops alone. I'm not saying you can't do it, but that's really, I wouldn't say it's artificial. That's not right. No, I'd be lying to you if I said it smelled artificial, but it is very sweet. There is big peach, but if you can imagine a peach melba, that's what it's reminding me of. There's melon as well, you know, the yellow coloured melon. Getting that on there too. A little bit of a grapefruit tint to it as well, but no trace of any malt on there. Supposedly it's a pale ale. I suppose it is a pale ale. Looks like a craft lager. It's quite hazy, quite cloudy in there. Not much carbonation. When is the sell-by date on this? Oh, there probably isn't one, is there? I don't think. Oh well, I've just got to go with what's in front of me. So let's get it down the hatch. Bottoms up. Fucking hell. My first thing, that is flat as a witch's tit. There was no carbonation in that whatsoever. Despite the fucking head on it, that is really flat. Yeah, look at it. Can you see that? There's very, very little carbonation in there. And that translates to the mouthfeel. Flat as a witch's tit. Let's dive in again. Oh, that's not a nice aftertaste. Oh, what is that? Oh, that does not taste nice. What the fuck is that? I'm wondering whether this is out of date, because it is now July. The coronation took place in June. Well, no, fuck me. Beer should last a little bit longer than that. So even if this is out of date, why are you brewing beer that doesn't fucking last? Yeah, you can say there's no preservatives in it, but it's fucking alcohol. There's a strange aftertaste on it, and I'm wondering what that is. Oh, it's not as big now. What the fuck was that? I don't know. Really don't know about this. I can get a lot of the hop character on this, but it's the usual fruit cocktail, which in a beer I'm not a massive fan of, to be honest. Yeah, it does taste quite bitter. They call it a pale ale. Well, yeah, pale ale is a very ambiguous term. It's an American style pale ale, put it that way. It's not an English style pale ale. I just don't see the point. It's like them lagers that you get. So it's, especially lately, some of them German ones, and I just think, well, what's the point? What is there to differentiate between this and every other craft brewed pale ale? Not a fucking great deal. Is it a chuck down the sink job? That first mouthful, that first big gulp, that aftertaste, I don't know what that was, but that seems to have subsided now, and there's more of the hop character on there. I don't know, maybe it was just my palate adjusting. I have to say, I haven't really had this type of beer, this style of beer, for a long time. I've been into basically anything that isn't the American style, and revisiting it. What them hops really do. To me, that's just like any other craft beer. I used to go out drinking with my mate when there was a craft brew place down in Maidstone. And he'd put stuff down in front of me, and I'd have a sniff of it and a taste, and it all tasted just like this. Now, don't get me wrong, there are variations to it, and you know, there are some better craft brewers than others, but what does it for me is the fucking price. I know they've got overheads and all that, but yeah, I just don't want to pay them prices, fortunately. But this, you got your orange, your mango, little bit of bitterness on the arse end of it, like a piney bitterness, resinous bitterness on there. There's a little bit of the malt character, and the body is relatively good, I have to say. They've got that right. But then when you put oats into a beer, that's your little insurance policy if you want to get some body on there. But to be honest, this really isn't filling me with any enthusiasm whatsoever. Brewdog don't fill me with any enthusiasm, and yeah, just I knew what I was getting into when I got this.
Shayna, they bought their tickets. They knew what they were getting into. I say, let them crash.
So, and it hasn't let me down. It's exactly what I thought it was going to be. A mediocre, swamped with American hops beer that, if you like that style, then that's fine. But I have to say, it's rare that I get a good one, or rare that I get one that I really like and I make a song and dance about. There are a couple, don't get me wrong. I like some of the stuff that Stone brew, because you know what you're getting. It's a West Coast IPA and it's bitter, and Stone do that really well, Stone breweries. And you know, if you've got a can of that, it's going to be bitter. It's going to be full of the alpha acid from the hops that are in there. And yeah, it's generally what they do. Brewdog, fuck knows. I mean, they brew all kinds of fucking nonsense, and yeah, a lot of it is a chuck down the sink job. To be honest, this ain't a chuck down the sink job. I could drink this and then completely forget about it. But flavour-wise, it's the usual caper. Big fruit, a very, very small amount of malt character on the finish, slight bitterness on the finish, and that's it. That's what you're getting. And to be honest, it is flat as well. But surprisingly, it's not putting me off. What the fuck, man? I was all prepared to go into a rant and say how shit their beer was. I remember when they done that Aldi one, and it stunk of onions. That was really disgusting. But this, yeah, it's immediately forgettable. So what is the verdict on Brewdog Ale to the King? Well, I don't know whether you're going to be able to buy this now or not. There may be some kicking about somewhere. I know it's sold out on the Brewdog website. There may be some supermarkets that have it. It was only brewed for the coronation, but yeah, it's typical of what Brewdog do. There's nothing. Now, to me, look, this is where I fucking, it winds me up. This is where it winds me up. The whole heritage of English brewing. This is brewed to commemorate the King's coronation. All right. So, wouldn't you attempt to do an English style beer? You know, just, I don't know. Maybe it's just me being fucking naive. But Brewdog, why wouldn't you just do that? Why wouldn't you attempt to do a beer? I'll fucking tell you why. Because it's difficult to get it right if you're going to do it properly. And these fuckers don't do it properly. Because, like a lot of craft brewers, they just bank on throwing a load of them American-style hops in there, giving it huge hop flavour, big fruit cocktail flavour, and you can't go wrong. They call it a beer. And in my opinion, I think that's a cop-out. I'm not saying they're not skilled brewers, but for me, the ultimate test of a skilled brewer is to brew an English-style bitter or English-style old ale, even better, or a lager. I'm not saying anyone can brew these kind of beers. I mean, that's a flippant statement. I shouldn't do that because as not being a brewer myself, but as a consumer, I would have thought you'd have just done an half-decent fucking English-style ale, you know, for an English king. But that's just metal, British king, I should say. I don't know who I've upset there, but yeah, fuck it, I don't care anyway. Yeah, Brewdog, I'm not a fan of theirs, to be honest. This beer, I'll drink it, I'll never buy it again. And to be honest, Brewdog can go fuck themselves sideways. I'm not a fan of who they are, what they do, what they stand for, their business practices, or their ethics. So, fuck you, Brewdog. This beer, on its own merits, if I'd done it in a blindfold test and I didn't know it was Brewdog, I'd probably give it. That don't smell nice. It's starting to smell a bit weird now. I'd give it a 4.5 to a 5 around that mark. I'm not even going to fucking bother giving it a definite mark, but yeah, not a fan. And it's not a great beer, to be honest. In the grand scheme of things, I have tasted better craft beers. Adnams do some good ones. They do a mosaic pale ale, and that's really nice. And it goes to show if you're a good brewer, you can do this and you can do it well. So yeah, Brewdog, I think. I mean, you have to give them credit. They did kickstart the craft brew revolution in the 2010s, or maybe even a little bit before that. And I do remember that. When they sort of first came out, punk IPA, a lot of my mates were punks and they latched onto it and started drinking it, and you could tell they were drinking it through gritted teeth because they didn't know they thought it was another lager, and it wasn't. But there you go. Yeah, I'm not going to enthuse about this anymore. There's really nothing to fucking write home about. It's the usual caper of the fruit cocktail, a little bit of malt character, a little bit of bitterness on the arse end. The fizziness in this, it could have been a little bit more, but yeah. So I'm completely fucking nonchalant about this because that's the kind of beer it is. So 4.5 to 5. Make your own minds up. Mark it yourself. And yeah, if you can see it available in the shops, if you want to buy it, buy it. If you don't, you ain't missing much. Put it that way. And remember, I'm drinking this shit, so you don't have to.